What's up? Quasar Qult back again. Brand new episode of our podcast, Season 2, Episode 9. You're probably wondering, damn, you're by yourself, Jerron. Yes, I am. Unfortunately, my partner, Voodoo Eyes, couldn't make it today. He's out of town dealing with a family emergency. Wishing him, much love, prayers, and thoughts to all of him. But as he said a couple weeks ago when I was out of town, the show must go on. And since I'm an expert at talking in front of the camera and bullshitting for an hour, I figure I'd hop on here and do this episode solo. So welcome to Quasar Qult Podcast. I'm your host, Jerron Eichner. For those of you who are watching this who don't know who the hell I am, I'm a multimedia artist who specializes in all form of media, including podcasts, but I also rap, I do live events, I write, I make movies, I do all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm pretty good at that too, so it's pretty cool to be proud of that. But the whole thing is that we share our stuff, thequasarqult.com, to bring you the latest and greatest in news, TV, cinema, all the stuff that you guys really care about in this world. We try to bring to you our blog, quasarqult.com. So make sure you check out quasarqult.com to see the latest stories, and so you can have some context about the things that we're talking about, because we sit here and we talk a lot of stuff that we post on that blog. So quasarqult.com is where you can find episodes of this podcast. You can find our merch store where we have, merch, et cetera, so forth, and all kinds of other cool lit stuff. We also like to play music from local artists. So if you're a local artist in Arizona, send us your music. We might put it on there because you never know. You might end up on the Quasar Qult, maybe, depending on how we feel. Shout out to our team, Voodoo Eyes and my wife, Jana Rose. We're the ones who post on Quasar Qult. So if you have any questions or concerns, just ask us, baby. We got you. We got you. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into this episode. This episode is brought to you by Yam Yams. That's what I'm smoking on today. Yam Yams is the premium delivery cannabis service that's exclusive to Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, they just added a Facebook page, so you could actually maybe add them on Facebook page. But if you know me, if you're in my secret society of cool kids, reach out to me, and I'll send you an exclusive link to join Yam Yams so you can get some of that fine cannabis sent to your doorstep as well. Shout out to Tyrone. I am praying for him and his family. He's going through some things too. There's just some weird stuff in the water right now, man. A lot of weird energy going on in the air, just out there. There's we're going through basically a cold war through Russia right now. Like there was another mass shooting this week. Our prayers and thoughts to Nashville. As much as I hate saying that phrase, I don't really know what else to say when it comes to these things. This is one of those topics that I try to avoid, but it happens all the fucking time, right? Just constantly we see these things, and Biden's trying to pass gun laws, and our country is just kind of devolving into a fuckery right now. Chemical spills every other week. It's nuts out there, man. It's crazy. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to talk about that to depress you. We're here to talk about the news, even though some of the news is kind of depressing. But our first story is actually Johnathan Majors. So this dude has actually been on a run lately, killing it, just killing it. At one point in time, he had a #1 and #2 movie in the country, but Creed and Ant-Man. And he has like 4 more movies coming out, including one where he's like a bodybuilder. He's going to be in Loki season 2. He is arguably probably the hottest actor in the game right now, period. And you know how the shit works, right? When you get too hot, the fire starts to burn, right? So, and honestly, I'm not even sure on the full details on this situation because honestly, it gets kind of fucky. And I guess the thing that I really want to talk about here is how people react to media stories and how it gets ingrained into our brains before the whole story comes out. And this is something that's becoming more and more apparent over time, like as we live our lives. And social media is like, it's almost weaponized in this sense. So like the prime example I can think of beyond this Johnathan Major situation before we go into details is a situation with Covington High School, I think it was. And I think you guys remember the picture, right? It was a picture of a high school class white dude, and he was being mean-mugged, or he was mean-mugging a Native American. And this was in front of like the town hall or city hall of that city because there was like a protest going on. And that photo got leaked before the story went out, right? So in the photo, all we saw was a smug kid basically like smirking at the Native American. And we saw that, and he was wearing a MAGA hat. So we saw that, and we started spinning our own tales and our own stories, right? We started going off talking about, oh, he's harassing the Native American. Oh, this kid is a POS. It got kind of crazy. And then the real story came out. It turns out that the kid was actually being harassed by the Native American. The Native Americans were going around harassing people. And so it's one of those things where like oftentimes, actually pretty much all the time, we run into situations where we just don't know the whole story. And before we know the whole story, we often just run with it. We start telling our friends, and we start sharing the stories and sharing the links. And that's basically what happened with Johnathan Majors here. So when it comes to Johnathan Majors, basically the story is that this dude allegedly was in an altercation in an Uber/taxi involving a woman. I'm not sure if this is a girl he's dating or a friend, et cetera, so forth. But there was a situation, right? I think the story that is going around, I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it's along the lines of someone trying to go through somebody's phone, that not being cool, and then basically, fisticuffs ensuing, people getting hurt. But what was wild about it was that when the story broke, basically the headline said Johnathan Majors was charged with a assault charge, or is about to be charged with an assault charge, is facing assault, and basically that's all you saw was assault, right? And then as time went on, the whole story started to come out. Turns out that Johnathan Majors called the police himself. He was the one that got called the police. It was not fucking the girl, but he called the police to make sure that the girl was good. Now, with that said, I think he's still facing charges because I haven't done enough research on this before the podcast episode to inform you on this, but I do believe that the story that was being circulated is not the story that actually went down. And once again, this brings me to my point of all this is about how easy it is to really damage your career, if his career is even damaged. And then, once again, this is debatable. Feel free to chime in the comments. We'll talk about it. But when things like this happen, a lot of people don't follow through on the information. And what I mean by that is that a storyline will come out. It will be like, oh, I don't know, Chris Brown. Actually, he's a bad example. Let's say me, for example, right? Let's say a story comes out that I got into a fight at a bar, right? And I beat up somebody. I beat up somebody at a bar, right? Let's say that's the storyline that's going out, right? Somehow, some way, I beat up somebody at a bar, and that's the headline. Jerron Eichner gets into altercation at a bar, busts his eye, because I'll be fighting, so I'll be pop, bust his shit up. But that headline hits, right? Let's say it hits Facebook. I would say that out of the I don't know, I have almost 5,000 followers on Facebook. I would say that probably maybe 2 of you or 3 of you would actually reach out to me and be like, hey, what's going on? I saw this story, yada, yada, yada. I can count it on my 2 hands. If it's not 3, it's definitely less than 10 of you would reach out and be like, hey, what's going on with you? The rest of you would get only a piece of that story and then basically play a game of telephone, right? Where you maybe share the headline and not read the whole article, or maybe you repost it, or you post a text version of the thing on Facebook with your own account, adding your own thing to it. And this is a common thing, right? Where rumors start to spread and news gets out before the facts hit. And so basically, let's say that, I'm in this altercation, I'm beating up some dude, I beat the hell out of him. The headline on Fox News says that Johnathan beat the hell out of somebody in an altercation at a bar. But the actual story turns out to be that I was defending myself, right? That maybe I was called the N-word and they were saying that they were going to harm me or something like that. Or maybe they attacked me, right? But because of how the headline was spun out, now I'm the bad guy. And the shitty part about that, and this is basically what Johnathan Majors is doing, that is that the vast majority of people who get that information, like the vast majority of people who are actually out there, like being like, who are absorbing this information, whether it's through Facebook on their timeline, on Twitter, or by the homie who came to work and said something about it, whoever is absorbing this information, 9 times out of 10 are not going to do the due diligence to follow up on the story, right? Until it comes across their way again. So they're on their timeline, they're scrolling, yada, 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 whoop-de-whoop. They see Johnathan Majors is getting an assault charge, and in their head, that's it. That's the end of the story. They're not going to click on the article and read the details. They're not going to check on any follow-ups. They're not going to do any really deep diving because, honestly, to be honest, they don't really give a fuck in the grand scheme of things. They have things to do. They might be at work. They might be at the grocery store shopping when they get all this information, right? So it's one of those things where the seed is now planted in your head, right? Whether you're a Johnathan Majors fan or not, you still got that information, and now you heard last time you heard Johnathan Majors was out there beating people up. So next time he comes up in conversation, oh, did you see Ant-Man? Oh, that's Johnathan Majors. Didn't he beat somebody up? Yada yada whoop de whoop. See what I'm saying? And so that's where media has become so powerful, to where we make up our own stories before the story is even out. And now Johnathan Majors has to go on a whole damn PR campaign. Probably gonna have to pull up on Ellen. I don't even know who the hot talk show lady is right now. Ellen retired. I don't know who's next. Kelly Clarkson. I don't know. One of these people. Pull up to one of these shows and and basically explain his side of the story. He's gonna have to shake hands and kiss babies. And at no point in time will we get an account from the female. I almost guarantee that, unless she decides to sell her story to the news, which is a very likely thing. Otherwise, we're not going to hear her side, right? We're going to have to see Johnathan Majors go on his little run, and he has to, because like I said, this dude has damn near 7 movies coming out over the next couple of years. He's going to be everywhere. It's almost like an Ezra Miller situation, which I alluded to in my Facebook post the other day, and how the studios have to basically rework their whole situation just to like accommodate for this dude's situation. And once again, we don't know all the fine details. He could be out there. He could have beat the hell out of the chick, right? But we don't know. We don't know the fine details. And as the story starts to come out, people will continue to make their own story. I just wish there was a solution to that. Like, as time goes on and as I get older, I start to realize how destructive social media is in the grand scheme of things. And this is from somebody who's been using Facebook for the last damn near 15 years of my life, and all the other social medias as well. But it's one of those things where we are so addicted to the story that we won't wait for the story to be complete. And this is like the whole addiction to the story thing. I could rant forever about that. But we see it time and time again. This is why we love our TV shows. This is why we love our movies. This is why we love our drama. This is why Kim Kardashian has 18,000 seasons of Keeping Up with Kardashians, because at the end of the day, we're addicted to the stories. We're addicted to those tales. So when hot news comes out, oh, so-and-so is whoopty-whoopty in a situation, right? We almost feel, especially now, it's like a psychological reaction to almost be like, oh, shit, let's go out here and tell everybody the story, right? Before we even get all the facts, let's tell everybody the story, because otherwise the story will be out before I got to tell it, which is part of it too, like the idea of being first and the idea of being in the loop of telling the story and being in that mix, which we talked about in this podcast before, where it's like, you know, there's been many times where we could have reported the story and been first and got all that sweet, sweet clout and those sweet, sweet clicks. Hell, even with this Johnathan Major story, I pretty much saw it break 15 minutes after it hit TMZ or whatever. And I could have hopped on Quasar Qult and posted that, but we didn't. And the reason why is because we're not trying to be sensationalists. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to sit here and ride the wave of clout for the sake of just doing it, when we can find much more organic and true ways to get attention to people who really want to fuck with us. It's not about people who just want to get the news. And so, I mean, that's my little rant about that, because I think, honestly, like, it happens time and time again. It tends to happen a lot more with minority actors. And I think that's a whole different discussion in terms of like how easy it is to smear somebody, and how a lot of minority actors have to kind of be on their P's and Q's a little bit more. Prime example I could think of is Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan, as far as I know, has no scandal. He is scandalous. He is squeaky clean. I think the closest bit of scandal that he has in his life is that when he was dating Steve Harvey's daughter and she dumped him. But beyond that, Michael B. Jordan is absolutely flawless in terms of his the public perception of him, right? All it would take is one situation, an assault situation, an altercation at the bar, a DUI charge, any of those things, right, that a lot of, I guess, non-minority white celebrities deal with all the time, to knock him off that slot. He would absolutely not be able to do Creed 4 if he got popped with a DUI. Now, the accountability on both sides of the race card is actually getting more and more apparent on that, where, you know, I think that we're seeing more equality and more equal ground when it comes to that particular topic. But historically speaking, it's a lot harder fight when the news hits. Another thing that comes to mind is Aziz Ansari. Aziz Ansari got Me Too'd, quote unquote. And it wasn't even a Me Too. All it was a girl who basically went on a bad date. It was a bad date situation, like where she talks about the awkward date. He tried to make a move. It didn't quite work out. Whoop-de-whoop. And then she went to Jezebel or one of these pro-female blogs and basically like told it as a Me Too story. And Aziz Ansari, where's Aziz Ansari at right now? See my point? Like, if that happened to Timothy Chalamet, right? People would be like, oh, I wish that was me. You know what I'm saying? It gets weird. It gets weird. But the point is that when it comes to Johnathan Majors, he's now all of a sudden on an uphill battle to get back in the good graces of the public eye, even though the vast majority of the public eye probably doesn't really give a fuck about him at this point. He's still a pretty relatively new actor. Like, he's not like Denzel Washington. You know what I'm saying? He's been killing it. He's been killing the hell out of it recently. But, I mean, he still has a long way to go to be considered to be like on the GOAT list. Although, to be fair, I love Johnathan Majors. I think everything that I've seen Johnathan Majors has been fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go see The Last Man in San Francisco. I think it's one of his first roles. That movie is fantastic. He was great in that movie. I think that actually kind of started his whole career. So, much love to Johnathan Majors. I hope that it works out how it's supposed to, because, you know, like I said, it's a wild, wild world out there, especially in Hollywood, especially with like the news and all that. Like, once TMZ gets a hold of the story, it's a wrap, dog. When that shit hits TMZ, when the T and the M and the Z hits the screen with a boosh, and they show your face, it's like, bro, you're in the hole. You got to get out. Anyways, keeping it moving. Speaking of TV, we're going to talk about this Last of Us situation. So, as you guys know, The Last of Us has ended a couple weeks ago with their season finale, which I actually haven't even watched yet. Surprisingly enough, not because I don't want to, it's just because I've been really busy and I just keep forgetting about it. I'll probably actually watch it tonight. But I absolutely love the show. I think The Last of Us is fucking fantastic. I thought it was great. Everything they did was money. It was great. Good job. People were complaining that there weren't enough zombies. Whatever, dude. Like, that's a small complaint. Especially when they had that scene where the giant ass zombie climbed out and there was like 45 zombies on his back. Like, y'all are just greedy. And y'all are gluttons for violence and blood and shit. Pay attention to the story. Like I said, you guys are addicts anyways. And that's how you keep season 2 going. But we're not talking about the show, actually. We're talking about the re-release of the PC port that just came out a couple days ago. So they actually just re-released Last of Us Part 1 on PC. Sony did that because, of course, they did, because Sony wants to get their fucking money. And, you know, obviously they're going to be like, hey, we should re-release this game because a lot of people will probably buy it. So they went ahead and announced, this is actually before the season even started, that they were going to re-release Last of Us Part 1. And actually it's like a remake. Like it's not a port. They actually like rebuilt the game from the ground up and released it on PC. And I was actually, last night, I was thinking about buying this game. I was like, oh man, we actually kind of dope to play on PC. Then I started reading the reviews on this game and what people are saying about it. And I guess people are saying that this shit is trash, B. Like, trizash. Like, apparently one of the issues is that it takes almost an hour just to upload the shaders in the game to play the game. So you buy the game, you put it on, they have to like do all the configuration and stuff. Just to do the shaders in the game takes an hour. So that means to even play this game, it probably takes over an hour just to get it up and running. There's also like optimization issues, like laggy frame rates. I was reading something on Reddit where a guy like has like a super duper like TI 4090 like super rig, and he had max settings and he was dealing with lag. And what's funny about it, when I was reading about it, they were talking about how, oh, you know, Sony didn't do this themselves. They passed it off to another third-party company to do it. And apparently this third-party company is like one of the shittiest third-party PC porting companies out there, but they're probably cheaper. They passed it off to them to do this, and they just ruined the game, apparently. Now, I haven't played it, so this is just like a third-party, like a hearsay thing, and from the reviews that I'm reading. But it's really funny to me that Sony fucked up that bag, because it's one of those things where like, dude, this is like easy. This is such a alley-oop to Sony. All they had to do was just make the same damn game that they made, 3 times already? And make it on PC. And just make it the same game. Like, I don't know what the hell happened. Like, that was like such an easy lob, bro. Like, whoever's at Sony should get fired for that shit, because the game is getting ripped up right now. And now all these people who were experiencing, maybe there's some kind of psychological 5D chess going on here, because I'm thinking about all the people who watch the show and enjoy the show, and now they're like, oh, I really would like to play the game. Oh man, I got a PC. I'm going to go ahead and buy the game. You. And they get it. And they're like, man, this game fucking sucks, bro. What the fuck? This is what people have been on the dick of the last decade. And maybe they're like, I'd rather watch the show, right? Because right now the show is the more viable franchise between the two IPs, you know, because shows be making money with their advertisement and all that and the longevity of the actors. So maybe it's a psychological move on Sony's part to go ahead and just drop a trash-ass game, but it's interesting to me that Sony did that. It's like, dog. It's such an easy situation for you just to be like, make the game, the same game that everybody knows and loves for the last decade plus. Just remake that game in the same exact way. Don't change shit. Put it on PC, make it controller-friendly, and that's it. It probably would have been a top seller if they did that. But because the internet, once again, got a hold of it and ran with it, they're saying this shit's trash, don't play it. That's just me. I like dead ass. I was like last night, because I was feeding to play some video games. I was like, man, I really want to play some video games. And I was scrolling through my Steam account and I saw Last of Us. And I'm like, oh, I might cop this. This is actually be dope. And but I looked it up and went, let me see what these motherfuckers are saying. They're like, no, this is trash, son. Trash. Don't do it. It's trap. So don't get the Last of Us PC game, because apparently it really fucking sucks. Which is, like I said, super sad. I have it on my PS3. No, I don't. Shit, I actually don't even have the game. So, you know, is what it is. Let me light this yam yams real quick. Typically, Joey will be talking and I'll be lighting it, but he's not here. So let me just light this real quick. Give me a moment, a reprieve. Hot second. 1 moment. Liddy. All right, next topic. Moving along. Tyler, the Creator, bro. Tyler, the Creator. So he actually just put out 2 new songs for the special edition deluxe version of his Grammy award-winning album, Call Me If You Get Lost. And these 2 songs that he dropped are fire as fuck, bro. Like, they're like really, really, really good. I'm like, dude, why is Tyler, the Creator not in the conversation when it comes to like the best rappers of our generation? I would absolutely argue a top 10 slot, maybe even a top 5 slot for Tyler, the Creator being one of the top 5 rappers of this generation. Now, once again, when I say this generation, is always a weird topic because people be having different generations. What I'm talking about is like the current big 3, right? The current big 3 is Kendrick, Cole, and Drake. Those are the big 3. That's what everybody says are the big 3. I think that's kind of undisputable at this point, that those are the 3 biggest artists of this generation, aka the last 10 years. But this dude right here, Tyler, the Creator, man, he snuck up on us, man. Now, keep in mind, when he dropped his first couple albums, I thought this dude was terrible. I thought that he was trying to be Eminem. He was out here dissing Bruno Mars and eating roaches in the videos, and I was like, man, whatever. But I fucked with Odd Future. I really like what he did with Odd Future, Wolfgang Kill 'Em All. That's their whole name. I thought that was awesome. And Golf Wang, like Frank Ocean, like all these things that he did in the early days are now like really like, when you look back at it, it's like, man, it's kind of crazy. Because this dude, he literally took Wolfgang, Golf Wang, what are you going to call him, and made a whole movement behind it with a bunch of artists who were in his wake. And like I said, his first couple albums, I was like, okay, dude, whatever. You're on some shock rapper, I'm going to eat a roach and bullshit. Basically, the bullshit that I don't really like about rap is when people do that. Like when, especially when black rappers try to like basically be like Eminem. Hopsin, you're a big offender of that, where you just basically take all Eminem's fucking shit and make it sound cornier. Tyler, the Creator, was on that wave early on. And I was like, man, this dude's kind of corny, et cetera, so forth. But then he started switching his tone. And I think it was probably like around Cherry Bomb when I was like, oh man, this guy actually is super talented. He actually has like some really cool like ideas in his mind. He's not just like a shock rapper. And then I want to say it was a Nardwuar interview and then something else, like a BTS documentary that I watched with him. And it like basically like followed him around basically for the whole day and kind of showed what he goes through. And this dude is like so cool, man. Like he's a cool dude. Like he's a dude that like I would want to hang out with and make music with because he really cares about the art. And he really cares about the process. Like his name, Tyler, the Creator, is actually very fitting for him because he creates. Like he has his own clothing line, et cetera, so forth. Like this dude is actually like arguably one of the best rappers of all time, just in terms of like what you guys consider to be best rappers of all time. He hits all the markers. So anyways, flash forward to his last two albums. This dude won 2 Grammys. One for his song Earthquake, and then Album of the Year last year, or the year before last, for Call Me If You Get Lost. And so it's one of those things where it's like, why is he not more in the conversation at this point? Is it because he has pushed himself off to like this outlier, non-mainstream world? But that doesn't even fly anymore because, in my opinion, you could say that Earthquake, the song Earthquake, is on the same level. It's like, it's almost the Hey Ya, Andre 3000's Hey Ya of this generation is Earthquake. In terms of like the level and the impact, the record sales, the critical acclaim, it's like the same tier. This dude is like the Andre 3000 of this generation. And a lot of you will probably argue with me on that, but you guys are wrong. This dude is actually one of the most creative dudes out here. And it fascinates me that he doesn't get more love. I really think that this dude, you could argue that he's a top 10 artist of this generation. He's definitely a top 50 artist of all time. Now, I know you motherfuckers don't like Tyler, the Creator. I've gotten into plenty of arguments about you or with you about this guy. And that's fair. Like, I understand why a lot of people don't rock with him because I think a lot of people are still stuck on his early persona. Because I definitely was. Like, I definitely like wrote Tyler, the Creator off when he was like eating roaches and being like, I'm going to kill Bruno Mars and stuff like that. To where I was like, well, whatever, dude, this dude's on some like shock value stuff. And so I think I always had that like template, but I actually think I was even listening to this song before I started the podcast. It was a song that he did, Potato Salad, with A$AP Rocky, where they're rapping with the Kanye beat. And I'm like, oh man, this is fly. Like he could spit. Like he's not out here just saying shock value bars. And his last album, Call Me If You Get Lost, is fire. It's a really, really, really solid, good rap album. Like if you like rapping and you like rap beats, go listen to Tyler, the Creator's last album. It's great. And so he put out these 2 songs, Dogtooth and Sorry Not Sorry. And they're both incredible songs, man. Like the production is solid. His flows are solid. The topics are solid. It's good music, man. It's some of the best music I've heard this year, man. So go check out Tyler, the Creator's Sorry If You, or Call Me If You Get Lost, the Estate Sale edition is what this called. It's like a bunch of bonus tracks. And I have a theory about this because if you watch the video for Sorry Not Sorry, it's actually a really cool video. It basically shows all the different album cover versions of Tyler, like all these different personas that he have, and they're all rapping to each other. But at the end of the video, this other version of Tyler, who I'm not quite familiar with what version that is, and I'm sure someone will fill me in on, beats the hell out of the Call Me If You Get Lost version of Tyler, the Creator, which I thought was really interesting. And I think he might be alluding to the theme of his next album because Tyler, the creator, is on some shit like me, bro. We be doing weird shit like that. That's some shit that I would do. So I fuck with him. Anyways, let's go ahead to this next topic. Keep it moving. For those of you who are popping in, you're watching the Quasar Qult podcast. I'm doing it solo today, bitch. I love to talk. I can sit here and talk for 2 hours just about bullshit if you give me a topic to riff off. So as much as I love Joey, I know I got this. So anyways, keeping it moving. We're going to talk about this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles joint, though, because apparently they are talking about redoing, not redoing, but making a video game based off of The Last Ronin. So that should be pretty cool. I'm trying to show you guys this, but it's just like tripping. There we go. Click the cloud and boodity boo. So The Last Ronin, for those of you who are not in the loop, is actually a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like, I'm not sure if it's like a alternate universe or a continuation. I'm pretty sure it's an alternate universe, but essentially, I have to try to say this spoiler free just in case you guys read the comic or play the game. But essentially what it is, as you see in this picture right here, it focuses on a single Ninja Turtle who has all the weapons of all 4 Ninja Turtles because the other 3 Ninja Turtles were killed, right? And in the comic, it's actually not even revealed who this turtle is until like a couple issues in. I know who it is. It's, but I'm not going to tell you who it is. You should go read the comic. And so apparently this comic is like hyper violent, super bloody, super graphic, super gory, very adult and mature. And they're talking about turning it into a video game, which is lit. Like, I guess they're trying to do something like in the same vein as like God of War kind of vibe, like a single player experience going around like murking people, which I think is awesome. I think that's such a great idea. And I think that it could be a potential like game of the year contender if done correctly, because the concept is so solid. And as someone who has grown up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think the one thing that I've wanted more of is dark shit from them, because the initial comic books were actually dark. They had like a dark tone to them. They were out there like murking people and doing this and that. But then when the TV shows came out, you know, the iconic, like probably like the most iconic image of the Ninja Turtles are the TV shows. They basically toned it down, and now they were like, you know, goofy and cracking jokes and not using their weapons as much, and, you know, for the sake of selling toys because their demographic switched, right? And they had to sell the toys to the kids who are going to buy the toys because, you know, the people who grew up with the Ninja Turtle comics in the 80s aren't the ones who were watching the cartoons typically. And so when you flash forward to now, right, like, I think most people who are Ninja Turtle fans are basically adults. Like, I know that they tried to launch Ninja Turtles several times on a kid level, even with the Megan Fox movie. That was aight, like, but it wasn't, even that kind of felt like it was targeted my people, not like 10 and 11-year-olds. And so they almost like kind of teeter this line. Like, they walk the fence of doing like really mature content on the grand scale and then doing like the corny kid shit, because ideally in their head, the corny kid shit is their target demographic, right? Because it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, you know, we're trying to target teenagers, et cetera, and so forth. But you have Seth Rogen dropping his version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who have actual teenagers doing the roles there. So I think they had that kind of covered, right? So this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Last Ronin game is like for niggas like me, like dudes who were damn near 40 who grew up Ninja Turtles, who just want to cut some people up and play some really good gameplay with characters that we really love. So doing a Last Ronin spin could be fire, especially with the 4 weapons thing. Like, they find a way that you can like combine the weapons together, and it could be fire, dog. It could be game of the year. And speaking of game of the year, this is a bonus topic that I didn't put in the screen here. Did you guys see the trailer for Legend of Zelda: Tears of a Kingdom? My God, that is game of the decade. It's gonna be crazy. Like, if you play any of these Zelda games, especially the last one, that people are still discovering. Like, this game came out 7 years ago, damn near, and people are still discovering stuff about that game. You can literally go on GameStop or GameSpot on YouTube, and they drop a video a month talking about 10 more, 30 more things we found in Legend of Zelda. So that game is just like so rich in terms of its engine. And now they're dropping another one, and they've added all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, you can like stick stuff together. It's crazy, dog. Like, it's crazy. I saw that the gameplay footage. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. This is about to be like GTA. The only reason why it won't be in a GTA level is because it's not a multiplayer game, because Zelda has never been a multiplayer game, which is fine. But if it was, dog, bruh, that's game of the decade. Watch. Trust me. Mark my words. Word marker right here. Tears of a Kingdom, game of the year. But going back to this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game, I'm super excited to see how this shit plays out, dog, because I think the concept is solid. A God of War style Ninja Turtle game where you play as the last Ronin with all the Ninja Turtle weapons. Make it violent. I want to see like dismemberment. I want to see heads roll. I want to see blood. I want to see like cool. I want to see cool shit, bro. Like I want to see like John Wick but turtles. Do that shit. Like Saifu. I was playing Saifu last night. That game is hard as hell. Still haven't beaten it. That game's been out for almost a year now, maybe over a year at this point. Still haven't beaten it yet. Very difficult game. But a game like that where it's just like really intense gameplay, really intense, intricate combos, and really intense, intricate weapon combinations. And I keep saying that and really intense and intricate over and over again, but you get the fucking point, right? That's what I want. So hopefully we get that. I'm very excited. So look for that. Last Ronin video game they're saying it's going to come out in a couple years. I'll be here for it, dog. I'll be here for it. We'll see what happens. I really hope they actually do that because I think that would be cool as hell if they did that shit. So let's go ahead and keep it moving. We got some bills to pay. We got some things to talk about. So as you can see, we're filming this episode of the Quasar Qult podcast at Star Camp Creative Labs. You can kind of see a piece of the sign here. But Star Camp Creative Labs is my creative studio where I just do all kinds of awesome stuff, like podcasts, for example. But we also have a comedy night coming up, which is called THC tomorrow night. And we have, as you can see here, we have a whole list. I always point the wrong way. Point that way. Yeah. If you see here, we have a whole list of comedians, including Will Eisenberg, L.D. Newstead, Zachary Perkins, Jordan White, Peter Jordan, and Bubba McComb. Bubba McComb is actually the homie. He actually starred in my first short film called Paradox Hotel. And I know he's funny as fuck. So I'm very excited to see that. It's hosted by Fluwood, the GOAT, one of the most creative dudes in the city, is out here putting shit together for the peoples. And, you know, it's gonna be a vibe. And you can come up and tell some jokes too. So between the hour of 8 and 9, we'll have an open mic situation. You can come up and tell some jokes. I've been writing a couple jokes. I got a couple jokes in my bag. I'm not sure if I'm gonna drop them or not. I might just hop on there and just say stupid shit and freestyle. Cause I'm pretty funny when I want to be. We'll see how it goes though. But you can hop on if you got some jokes that you want to try out and really like get your feet wet in the comedy world, come down. Come on down to fucking Star Camp Creative Labs and we'll hook you up. It's actually very interesting because as I've been promoting for this show, I've been learning more about the comedy world. And it's very similar to the rap world. It's like the same shit. You got the same the same comedians playing the same venues over and over again. It's kind of wild. I'm a promoter. I gotta do what I gotta do. But you know, you might see me in these comedy forums asking these comedians to play shows the same way I'd be asking rappers. But I hope you guys come together, man, because we're also gonna have some pizza in the VIP room for y'all. We also got some pre-rolls provided by Fluwood and his team. And it's gonna be a vibe, man. And when you buy a ticket, you also get a drink. So I think I'll probably be running the bar tonight or tomorrow night. So we'll see how it goes. But it's a vibe, man. Pull up, come kick it with your boy. Come get these jokes. Come see what we're about. Come check out the new venue because, like I said, we remodeled the venue. So shout out to Dan for putting in the work. Him and Joey really fucking threw down that wall. We have a hallway now that leads into the start. It's crazy. You have to come see it. It's kind of hard to explain. But come see it tomorrow night, Thursday. If you don't come tomorrow night, for whatever fucking reason, even though I just did get a whole ass plea, you decided not to come, you can still come to fucking Friday night where we're doing our first ever open mic competition called Signal. Now, the reason why I called it Signal, because I'm fucking clever. Campfire, smoke signals. You see what I did there? Campfire is basically our premier event that we do here at our Star Camp Creative Labs, where we have incredible food, we got pre-rolls, we got video games on the big screen, we got like board games. It's like a whole situation. It's our premier flagship event here at Star Camp Creative Labs. I also handpick the artists. That means that I go and I listen to their music, or it's people who I know are just gonna bring good, talented sets to the stage. Like I really pride myself on my booking abilities. And so when it comes to Campfire, if I'm reaching out to you to play at Campfire, it's because I really, really rock with your music and I really, really enjoy the content that you make, right? And so I was like, I need to switch it up a little bit. I was like,
We're on Campfire 3, but I'm all about the community. I'm out here wearing a Soul Revival t-shirt, which is my nonprofit that I run, where we go out there and we help people. We just ran our food pantry today and fed 80 people. So for me, I'm all about how do I help out the hip-hop community with my venue? Well, I want to give them a stage to play at. And that's what Signal's about. I'm sending out the smoke signal to y'all, to you, right there, to come here to Star Camp Creative Labs. Yeah, it's a $10 cover, but, our shows are usually $20, so this is actually like a cheaper event. $10 cover. You can come in, get some drinks. You can smoke your weed. Only weed. Nothing else. Don't be bringing no crazy ass drugs in here. Smoke your weed and just fucking hop on stage and play a couple songs. And so what's going to end up happening is there's going to be a couple of secret judges. I'm one of the judges, of course, and I'm actually the ultimate judge at the end of the day. But there'll be a couple of people kind of judging y'all. We're going to be judging you guys on your song quality, your stage presence, your ability to get the crowd rocking, which I highly suggest that you bring your people for that, and just your overall vibe. Like, you could be talented as fuck and have all the other three, like, rocking, but if you're a dick, I'm probably not going to book you. I'm very, very actually hard-ass about that. I'm a dick. There can only be one dick in this building at any point in time. It's me. God damn it. Just kidding. I'm sure that my team's laughing at that because that's probably accurate. But anyways, I digress. The point is that we want to find dope talent. We want to give you a chance to play Campfire or the Truth with Your Whiskey Tour, which is a tour that's coming on April 18th here at Star Camp. And we got Jiving Scientist, Tommy Will, JB, Cash Lansky, and Marley B. Some of the best artists in Arizona history are coming to Star Camp. And we're going to try and give you a slot on that show. So if you pull up on Friday from, I think it says, I can't even read the flyer because it's so far away, but from 7 to 8, we're doing a sign-up sheet. So you can go, you can sign up, whoop-de-whoop, and then you can perform 2 songs. Please bring it on a USB drive. And that's it. You rock the songs. If we like you, we'll shake your hand, say good job. And then if we really, really like you, we'll be like, hey, you should hop on the show, and we'll pay you. Give you VIP room and shit. So, like I said, if you're out there grinding, if you're out there trying to get your rap on, honestly, if we're being dead ass honest, this is the first one. And we're trying to do our best to promo, but we're still working on shit. Any rapper that's decent and is a shooter, that can spit, I know there's a lot of you out there, has a very good chance of winning this event. Like, I'm not biased. I'm not going to book the homies because I can just book the homies. I'm looking for talent. I'm looking for dope shit. I'm looking for people who could actually, rock a crowd. So if you can rock a crowd, you have a pretty good chance of winning $50. You win an interview with Quasar Qult. You win a slot on either the Truth with Your Whiskey Tour or on Campfire 3. And you get some weed from Yam Yams. It's like a win-win-win-win-win situation. All you got to do is pull up and rap and pay $10 to get in the door. And I'm gonna hand you back $60 if you win. So you get your $10 back, bro. It's a fair deal. It's pretty good. All you gotta do is come rap. And I'm telling you, I'm saying this like this now because this is something that we are planning to do monthly, maybe even bi-weekly, maybe even weekly if things go well, to where we're doing this all the time. And a year from now, if we're doing this consistently, it's gonna be crazy, dog. It's gonna be like 90, 80 people trying to play these events. Right now, I think we have 9 people signed up, maybe eight or nine artists signed up, which is actually quite a bit. But ideally, we would want to have, 20 or 30. So, and I like to overachieve. So give it a year, we're going to have damn near 50 people playing open mic nights on a Thursday night here at Star Camp Creative Labs. So hop on the wave now. And the thing about it too is that even the people who don't win the competition, if you're still dope, you'll still be on my radar. And I'll have your email, because I'm going to ask for your email when you guys pull up, to where I might contact you for a future event, even though you didn't win this one. So come down to Star Camp Creative Labs, come network with your boy, come check out the new place, come shake some hands. You might even get a couple photos out of it because our team will be there taking photos and do our thing. Come check out the spot. Come get this work. It's light work for all. Any talented person can probably win the situation. So I hope to see your beautiful faces there. If not, then it is what it is. We have more events coming up very, very soon. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching this episode of Quasar Qult podcast I did entirely by myself. I'm over here acting like I don't do podcasts by myself all the time. Like, I actually do this very often. So I'm actually no surprises there as of me being able to handle that. But next week, my partner Joey will be back, and we'll be back with more episodes and more news and more gossip right here on Quasar Qult. And you can also check out our YouTube channel. We actually have two because we're weird. We have cultlife.com, which is like more casual kind of stuff. QULTLYFE.com. And then we also have Quasar Qult, which is probably where you're watching this right now. If you're on YouTube watching this, maybe, or you might be watching on Cult Life too. I actually don't even fucking know. But we have a YouTube channel called QuasarQult.com too. So go follow that too. Also, we have an Instagram page. So go to that. I think it's all at the bottom right here. Our Twitter account, Instagram page. And send us some music, dog. Send us some music. If you guys are rappers and you fucking like rap, or if you just make any kind of music, we actually don't even segregate or discriminate to just rap music. We do all music that we like. Send it over. You can actually email us. Where? Actually, don't even know. Why did I even say that? We don't have an email for Quasar Qult. But you can email me, actually, if you want to, at info@starcampcreativelabs.com, if you want to do that. If you want to talk to me about booking shows here, or maybe recording a podcast, or just maybe a meeting or doing something like that, we are open for booking. We have plenty of stuff in the works that I can't quite talk about yet, but I'm super excited to share it with y'all. And I know that you guys are going to be supporting us because that's what you guys be doing. So thank you and shout out to yourselves for being so dope, because honestly, we can't do this podcast without you. Our numbers have been increasing kind of crazy lately. This month on our blog was by far our most successful month on our blog since we started. Doing very, very well in that sense. Our podcast episodes are getting more and more plays. We're getting listeners from all over the world. Shout out to people in Ireland, Germany, Egypt. I think we have a couple listeners in Japan. We see y'all, and we really appreciate every single one of the listens that we get, because it shows that you guys care. And this world is crazy, man. We're just making all this shit up as we go along. So it's tight to see people resonate with what we're trying to do. So we love you. With that said, without further ado, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm going to go home and enjoy my life. One love to each and every one of you for watching. I appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. We out this bitch. Goodbye.